free-thinking, innovative, open-minded domination politics. Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics.
Während die Welt über den Ausgang des Ukraine-Krieges debattiert, zeigt ein genauerer Blick, dass Russland möglicherweise bereits einen stillen, unbestreitbaren Sieg errungen hat. Hier sind 5 wichtige Anzeichen dafür, dass Moskau seine strategischen Ziele erreicht hat. Erstens, Gebietskontrolle. Trotz heftigen ukrainischen Widerstands und internationaler Unterstützung behält Russland derzeit die Kontrolle über große Teile der Ost- und Südukraine, einschließlich der Donbass-Region und des wichtigen Landkorridors zur Krim. Wirtschaftlich und strategisch ist dieses Gebiet ein großer Gewinn, doch Ukraines Rückeroberung scheiterte wiederholt. Diese Gebiete sichern Russland dauerhaft Vorteile bei Verhandlungen. Zweitens, die Erschöpfung der Ukraine auf dem Schlachtfeld. Ukrainische Truppen haben nach über 3 Jahren Krieg gravierenden Personal- und Munitionsmangel und sind zunehmend auf westliche Hilfe angewiesen. Es hat zwar heldenhafte Gegenoffensiven gegeben, diese waren jedoch oft mit untragbaren Kosten verbunden. Russlands Kriegsmaschinerie, durch Industrieproduktion und ausländische Partner gestützt, zeigt keine Nachschub- oder Soldatenknappheit. Drittens, die politische Zersplitterung unter den Verbündeten der Ukraine. Die letzten Monate haben tiefe Risse in den westlichen Koalitionen offengelegt. Der US-Kongress hat wichtige Finanzierungsgesetze verzögert. Europäische Länder, die mit wirtschaftlichen Belastungen und internen Spaltungen zu kämpfen haben, zögern zunehmend, die militärische Unterstützung auf dem bisherigen Niveau aufrechtzuerhalten. Da die ausländische Lebensader der Ukraine schwächer wird, stärkt Russlands Position täglich. Viertens, die Normalisierung russischer Errungenschaften in globalen Medien und diplomatischen Kreisen. Es findet eine subtile, aber unbestreitbare Verschiebung statt. Der Fokus verlagerte sich von einem totalen ukrainischen Sieg auf Verhandlungslösungen, realistische Ziele und eingefrorene Konflikte. Russlands andauernder Krieg und die Festigung seiner Gebietsansprüche machen die Besatzung vielerorts zur akzeptierten, wenn auch unbequemen Realität. Und schließlich, innenpolitische Stabilität in Russland. Wladimir Putin kontrolliert trotz westlicher Sanktionen und innerer Opposition die russische Wirtschaft, gestützt von Handelsbündnissen mit China, Indien und Afrika, funktioniert weiter und passt sich an. Öffentliche Unterstützung ist, laut staatlichen Medien, weitgehend bestehen geblieben. Russlands stabile Heimatfront verhindert einen Zusammenbruch und erhält den Auslanddruck.
We have Zimeneros. Alex, what's up? How's it going? Welcome to Tommy Nation Politics. Sorry, I didn't realize it was in German, guys. But there's, on the headwinds, there's some really key issues that we really need to talk about. We really need to make sure that we're free-thinking, innovative, and open-minded on. I guess just let's look at the Mirror, which is a news article out just last week, talking about, I'm a military expert, but World War III is already here. This is when it really started. Let's see what it has to say here. Let's see if we can share this screen here. Okay. People think war maybe will bring up images of the First and Second World Wars, of the trench warfare and fierce battles fought in the towns and cities of Western Europe. But in today's age, it can be far more simpler, with a digital arena replacing scenes of destruction at home. Or if you're from Ukraine, there's destruction at home, guys. But other signs are less subtle, as people in Ukraine can attest. Indeed, like I said, Third World War has already begun. Invasion of the friendly neighbors. We've got Pakistan and India. We've got skirmishes all over the country, guys. And back at home, back domestically, we kind of have Stephen Miller, saying that he's going to not allow, or he's going to suspend habeas corpus, which has only happened pretty much 2 other times, like Defense Authorization Act, Barack Obama, Abraham Lincoln, Civil Rights Court, Civil War, and then we've got some. What was the other one? Oh yeah, the Japanese internment camps, suspending habeas corpus on that. Why does Stephen Miller want to suspend habeas corpus? Because, guys, we're in the middle of an invasion. There's an Alien Enemies Act in place, and the world, as we know it, is warring all over the world in different factions. Are the signs of war at hand? Can we see the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse riding as we speak? I don't know, guys. In the chat, if you think whatever you think, let me know. I can tell you though that we're almost at DEFCON 5 after the 100 days in office from Trump, and it's a disapproval rating at 42%. We've got a lot of different policies in place that could lead to the promotion of the general welfare, securing of the blessings of liberty, and the provision of the common defense, or could not. Donald Trump hopes the Supreme Court will rescue the country, but they continue to block his immigration policies. Check this out.
What's next for cleaning up the courts after Judge Dugan's arrest?
Oh, it's terrible. What happened there is terrible. That could happen with a judge is so ashamed. And we have to bring our country back from all these criminals that Biden allowed to come in. These are world-class criminals and people that are insane, people from jails, murderers, drug addicts, drug dealers. And, we have a country. We have to be proud of our country. We can't let these people stay, and the courts are allowing them to stay. And we're just not going to allow it. So hopefully the Supreme Court will come to the rescue of our country. Thank you.
Can you help Peter?
Trump administration ends funding for legal representation of 26,000 migrant children. This is from the AP News, guys. They're aliens, guys, and they're invading our country. This is a full-on, hands-on DEFCON 5. As you can see, here are the invaders. They're extremely, extremely dangerous. Oh, I need to put this down a little bit. Y'all see the invader? Oh. Y'all see the invaders here? I'm so bad at this. So, yes, they're so dangerous, guys. Super dangerous. The Trump administration on Friday ended a federal contract that provides legal representation to nearly 26,000 migrant children who entered the United States without a parent or guardian. A move, immigration attorneys say, will leave children vulnerable and to rapid deportation. So the contract provided funding for attorneys to represent minors who are under the custody of the Office of Refugee Resettlement, at least 4,000 of whom reside in California in immigration courts. California, Democratic state. This is interesting, guys. It's very these things that Trump are doing. It's making liberals really uncomfortable. The suspension of habeas corpus, the cutting of immigration attorneys from children. This is all very dystopian, isn't it? But where have I seen things like this before? I think I've seen something like this before from another administration. Let's see. Where is this thing? I've got so many tabs open. Basically, did I delete it? Basically, in 2014, Barack Obama, the deporter in chief, he did the same thing, cutting the immigration, making sure that the children were defending themselves. The ACLU had an article on it. I'm trying to find it right now. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Where did I put this? Did I delete it? History. Not good, guys. Please bear with me. Okay, let's just look it up again and see what happens. Cool. Okay, so in the ACLU News and Commentary, it's May 1st, 2014, the United States had a proud tradition of individualized due process. Due process, guys. Like the kind of due process that Kilmar Abrego Garcia should have, right? Due process. It's one of those things in our Constitution that gives inalienable rights of life, liberty, and happiness to not only us, but all mankind that are created equal, endowed by our Creator with inalienable rights of life, liberty, and happiness. And so all the citizens and all people on the jurisdiction of the country should have these rights afforded to them of due process. But in 2014, the ACLU had a lawsuit against Barack Obama, first black president and liberal leader, who argued for the importance of fairness but speed. The United States proudly took away the individualized due process, no matter who you are, of course, with the Patriot Act. And then the immigrants, many of whom qualified for, of course, asylum because of the cartels, were supposed to be given consideration by a judge reviewing their individual case and deciding whether or not they must leave. But with the migration policy, the Deportation Act of 2014, this cut immigration court funding. It kind of supplanted Barack Obama's nickname henceforth is the deporter in chief. He dramatically changed over the past years the judicial system and immigration court hearings, and the system today of non-judicial removals, where 75% of people removed do not see a judge before being expelled from the United States, was actually, guys, it was put in place by Barack Obama. Isn't that interesting? It almost seems as if the Obama presidency, in more ways than one, ushered in what we see today in the Donald Trump presidency. I know in 2008, Americans elected a relatively unknown U.S. senator from Illinois by a wide margin. And he said there was no red states, there was no blue states. It was only the United States of America. His father was born in Kenya. He was born in Hawaii. His presidency will be remembered for a lot of things, I think, in my opinion, guys. But one of the things that it will be known mostly for, I think, in the future history, is that he was the president that ushered in, with no doubt, there's no doubt in my mind, the tyrannical Trump presidency that we have today. Why do I think that, guys? Well, let's talk about what happened. Let's talk about the symbolic significance that Obama had with his skin color, I guess. It made people significantly come out to the polls, but with substantial policy impacting people on Obama's watch, not so much. I mean, the rise of Trump can only be it can only be ushered in by something of a kind of hypocritical presidency that made the economic impact of his presidency. Of course, the left is supposed to tax the wealthy, you're supposed to raise the middle class, they're supposed to bring a new deal to workers' rights. None of that really happened among his presidential policy achievements. What happened, in fact, was the shifting Republican strategy of populism. I think populism started against it was an anti-establishment kind of feeling, with the cracking of the heads of the peaceful protesters of Occupy Wall Street, the bank bailouts in 2008, and the housing crisis that led to foreclosed houses and homeless families. That really just not only it raised the poverty in America, but it kind of left us wondering where the hope and change was. President Obama suspended habeas corpus with the National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA of 2012, which contained provisions allowing for indefinite detention of individuals, including United States citizens, without trial. It raised concerns about due process and civil liberties, and the ACLU, like I said, had a lawsuit on that. They were complaining. ACLU still principled, but it made me wonder, guys, exactly what is the difference between the Democrats and Republicans? What exactly is the difference between the Democrats and Republicans? I mean, back in the day, they were called the Democratic Republicans, and they shot kind of like two branches from the same tree. And the policies that are pushed, and the policies that are championed, and the policies that are achieved from the last 50 years, they give a stark reality to exactly who is in charge of our country, what exactly the goals are, and what exactly the vision statement is. I think, in my opinion. What do you guys think? As far as the marginalization of middle class and the decreasing numbers, the dwindling numbers of the middle class, we have people in this administration who are not really talking about income inequality, not really talking about the exploitation of the worker. They're more talking about death penalties and vengeance and deportations and invasions of aliens. And nothing is more of a stark reality of where we've been and where we've come from than this little piece of news that came out about Luigi Mangione and the Attorney General Pam Bondi seeking the death penalty, of course, for his brazen his involvement or non-involvement, allegedly involvement in, I don't know, Robin Hoodism, justice. What could it be, but only warranting death.
We have breaking news. Attorney General Pam Bondi is directing prosecutors to seek the death penalty for the man accused of killing the United Healthcare CEO. In explaining her decision, the Attorney General calls the murder a premeditated, cold-blooded assassination that shocked America. Let's get right to senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky on that. Aaron, the Attorney General says this isn't just about Thompson's murder, but also risk to others.
And that's because we've seen some other CEOs in Target, pictures posted all around New York City after Thompson's killing. And so clearly the Justice Department wants to send some kind of a message. And that's been consistent from one administration to the next. Remember, the crime was committed while Joe Biden was still president, and it was the Biden administration that pushed to have him charged in federal court in addition to the state charges that Mangione faces, and that was done in anticipation of just this, him facing the death penalty as a possible deterrent to putting other CEOs in danger like that.
The memo also talks about putting other people on the street that day at risk because this shooting happened right in front of a New York City hotel. But it also comes after this memo from the Attorney General about federal executions. Do you expect we're going to see more federal death penalty cases?
Certainly possible, that I suppose would depend on the crime. There are specific crimes that have to be charged in order to reach that threshold. I'm not sure how many others were really in danger that day. The authorities have been confident that Mangione was targeting Brian Thompson and Thompson alone, and had he wanted to do something else, he certainly would have had the opportunity, given how long he was on the run before he was caught. But the administration, both prior and current, clearly wants to send a message that stalking a business leader because you disagree with business policy is not going to be acceptable in the United States. And that's where the
death penalty comes in as a deterrent for you to think that you might go against any business policies or disagreement on the corporate sector. Because remember, Barack Obama said, we have to bail out these banks and we have to bail out these corporations. We have to pick the winners and losers. Who knows? One of us might just turn a profit. These bank bailouts might just put titties on flat-chested women. Who knows? I don't know, guys, but these similarities of the policies achieved by the Democrats and Republicans, these policies, they originate for Democratic Republicans, finding their way to the modern party system, emphasizing individual liberty, business, corporate interests, and of course, the federal authority to suspend habeas corpus. Despite their claims to represent different constituencies, both the Democrats and Republicans have often aligned with elite interests, as we see here with Luigi Mangione, demanding the death penalty for a healthcare CEO. We have to send a message. We have to send a message to the children of the immigrants who are trying to seek asylum. We need to send a message to the people who might be over the top done with the income inequality that neoliberalism and laissez-faire economics has caused. The Democratic Republicans, guys, resisted federalist policies. They favored the wealthy. Both parties today critiqued for their ties to corporate donors and lobbyist interests. This suggests a continuity in the political game that I see on the forefront. Despite the polarization, both parties, regardless of their branding, maintain a relationship with power structures that prioritize the interests of the few over the many. And so the cyclical nature of American politics continues. Kicking the can down the road, raising the deficits, deporting the immigrants that seek asylum, and foregoing due process, habeas corpus, for not only the immigration courts, but also the American citizens later on. You come for the immigrants, you go for the military, then you come for the citizens. It's really a tactic that's been intertwined with the expressions of political ideologies that are, I guess they're similar as far as policy achievements and wants, but they're not, in any case, distinctive when it comes to right versus left. There are two sides of the same coin. At first glance, the Democrats and Republicans, they appear to be polar opposites, right? Embodying different values and ideologies. However, when you peel back the layers, you'll find that both parties serve the corporate interests. Like two branches of the same tree, they grow in different directions, but are ultimately nourished by the same roots. And what are those roots? What was the compromise that made the Democrats and Republicans two parties in the first place, my friends? It was free states and slave states. And so throughout recent history, we've witnessed numerous instances where these bipartisan agreements, these economic policies, this income inequality, this rhetoric of division, these alternatives for diplomacy, democracy, and the rule of law, they should shatter this perspective and invite us to consider the broader perspective that if the Democrats and Republican parties function as two sides of the same coin, well, the need for alternative voices in parties that could challenge the status quo is needed to be embraced immediately, urgently. It's an emergency. Fresh ideas, new solutions in a political arena that foster a more vibrant and representative democracy is not only essential, but it's something that I think is the only thing that can collectively bring us back to the brink of the end of the American empire. And so the commander of courts, as he trudges around and talks about how the separation of powers in the judicial branch of the government is unfair and unkind to him, his executive powers. And we see the right-wing authoritarianism creep up. We also, and the leftist apathy and the lesser of two evil voting, the enabling of evil and the status quo. We see the collective, apathy of that. I think, guys, in my opinion, there's nothing else to do but be free-thinking, innovative, and open-minded, and really get involved. Really get involved with your community. Join the fight, www.tommynationpolitics.com. Do whatever you can do in your place, where you are, to fight, to resist. Because I promise you guys, when the midterms come, the Democrats get the House of Representatives. Are these policies that Trump is arguing under the Alien Act, are they going to disappear? Or are they going to be used as a Trojan horse or some other vehicle resource by the Democrats in another way, as they have before, like I just have explained, guys? Are they going to be used to supplant our rights, curtail our liberties, and destroy our republic? Republic, guys.